How's it going, retro people? My name is Brad, this is RetroPalooza Spotlight, and this is your news, notes, history, and retro games to play for the week of September 26, 2016. Last week's tutorial was all about the NEC PC-98 line of Japanese personal computers. This tutorial is a bit confusing because emulating this system is confusing. So if you need extra help, then don't hesitate to leave your comment in that video's comment section. RetroPalooza is this weekend. I'm so excited. Jason and myself will be out there in the Texas heat meeting our awesome community at a retro gaming convention. We're excited to be making this trip and we can't wait. If you're going to be there this weekend, October 1st and 2nd, let us know in the comments below. We'll have the arcade cab available for everyone to check out, and we'll have footage of our trip going to and from Texas. So if you couldn't make it out there, you can see what it was all about through our eyes. In ROM hacking and translation news, Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door now has a comprehensive ROM hack, and the game is now dubbed Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door Plus. The hack, as detailed by the author, is broken down into 4 different categories. The first module of this patch does some basic changes or reverts that were made during localization, and it is very simple in scope. The second module goes a bit more deep than the first, reverting major changes back to the Japanese version from the English release. The third module is all about updating and modernizing game assets that have since changed in the Mario universe, and they now resemble their current state. The fourth and last module made some other changes that didn't fit into the first 3 categories, like the title screen changing to denote the plus version is being played, Rockhawk's name being changed to the Spanish translation version, extra dialogue, and loads more. It is worth noting that the modules that change only text can be patched and played on a real GameCube or Wii, but that the entire mod, or the modules that change more than text, can only be played on Dolphin. If you need help getting Dolphin up and running to play GameCube and Wii games, the link to our tutorial is below as well. It's one of the first tutorials I did for the channel, so it's ripe for an update. However, it's still just as relevant and very helpful. This mod looks really awesome, and it is the first fully featured ROM hack of Thousand-Year Door. I hope that people who grew up with these games like I did now have the drive to hack more and more of the PS2 and GameCube era games like this. I think it's hard for people to remember that Nintendo used to license out their characters for everything under the sun. Nowadays, you hear that there might be a Legend of Zelda TV show or Nintendo theme parks, and we wonder why Nintendo has never done this before. When I say that they used to license everything, I mean it. Cereals, shirts, bed sheets, movies, and TV shows. They literally did it all in the 80s and some of the 90s. This did come back to haunt them, however, and that is why Nintendo stopped doing this for a very long time. One of the shows that may have drove them towards this conclusion is actually now available on Steam for streaming. Called The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, this TV show is extremely campy and a minefield for modern memes. You can buy each episode for $1.99 each, or all 13 episodes in a bundle. The show is made for children in the 80s and 90s, mind you, so don't expect it to be spectacular. However, Nintendo would have needed to have signed off on the distribution company putting this online for purchase, and this might be indicative of a future where Nintendo wants everything out there. It may be very corny and outdated now, but a lot of people grew up on this and holds a very special place in their heart. Instead of being forced to find less than scrupulous methods of rewatching their old favorites, they have an easy route now, and that is always a good thing. Something that may be lost on our younger audience today is that before the internet time, there wasn't much you could do in order to find your way around a game you were stuck in. Nintendo Power magazines, the occasional strategy guide, or playground gossip were all you had, and usually not correct. So Nintendo had set up a pay-by-the-minute service where you could call and get help from a Nintendo game counselor. For years, there's been a lot of mystery to that job that has really gone untold until recently. Fellow YouTuber Metal Jesus Rocks has uncovered the Nintendo Counselor Guide, a book that a person would use when someone stuck in a Nintendo game would call and ask for help. I don't want to go too in-depth about the guide or what was in it. You should totally go watch Metal Jesus Rocks' video on the guide, as he goes through a lot of what the handmade books hold. This is a very cool piece of Nintendo history that has been uncovered and is now in very capable hands. I really hope other Nintendo relics from their history keep turning up. This month in 1996, Super Mario 64 was released as a launch title from the Nintendo 64. Super Mario 64 is a platform video game developed and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo 64. Along with Pilot Wings 64, it was one of the launch titles for the console. It was released in Japan on June 23, 1996, and later in North America, Europe, and Australia. It is the best-selling game on the N64, with more than 11 million copies sold. An enhanced remake called Super Mario 64 DS was released for the Nintendo DS in 2004. In the game, Mario explores Princess Peach's castle and must rescue her from Bowser. As one of the earlier three-dimensional platforming games, Super Mario 64 is based on open-world playability, 3 dimensions of freedom through all 3 axes in space, and relatively large areas which are comprised primarily of true 3D polygons as opposed to only 2D sprites. The game established a new archetype for the 3D genre, much as Super Mario Bros. Did for 2D side-scrolling platformers. In the evolution from 2 dimensions to 3, Super Mario 64 places an emphasis on exploration within vast worlds that require the player to complete multiple diverse missions, in addition to the occasional linear obstacle courses as in traditional platforming games. While doing so, it still preserves many gameplay elements and characters of early Mario games. The game has left a lasting impression on 3D game design, particularly notable for its use of a dynamic camera system and the implementation of its 360-degree analog control. The title is acclaimed by many critics and fans as one of the greatest and most revolutionary video games of all time. So that was Retro Style Spotlight for the week of September 26th, 2016. All the relevant links to everything you heard in this edition of RSS will be in the description below. Everybody can sign up for a Launchbox forum account to talk with us over there. If Launchbox is giving you a beautiful library of games, then why not purchase a premium license of Launchbox for $20 to access Big Box, which is a controller and couch-oriented version of Launchbox. If you have a few favorite games that are lacking in metadata or media, head on over to the games page on the database and make your desired edits or add the games yourself. Jason, Kirsten, and I have a lot planned for our community, so if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we're doing a tutorial video every Friday, live developer sessions, Launchbox news, Q&As, and a ton more content in the future. Let us know what you think of RSS and any feedback you may have on it. My name is Brad, the link to my channel is below, and remember, freaks and geeks, to play more games, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day.